Hello and welcome to 12 Games of Christmas 2021. This year we are truly international. I know schools are joining us from California, Tokyo, Hong Kong and more. So wherever you're joining us from today, welcome to this year's 12 Games of Christmas. My name is Mr. Hill26, that's my Scratch username. I'll be guiding you through the next 12 days where I'll share with you tips and ideas on creating fun and engaging Scratch games. Each day I'm hoping to share some of your content too, your favourite project, maybe some tips you think would help others, and in return your Scratch name will be shared out to our 12 Games community with a link so everyone can follow you, check out what you've got in your studio, etc. Now, today is day one, and so my tips and tricks is simply showing you how to submit your ideas and your projects to me ready for the rest of the week. Before I do that, let me show you the first featured game, and it is a simple one to start with. It's using that simple clicker mechanic that a lot of people like to use. It's very popular right now on Scratch. A clicker game, if you didn't know, is a simple, fairly addictive program that counts how many times you click and then usually gives you something in return, some extra skins for your character or power-ups. In my Santa Squats game, you are against the clock, or more like against the tirade of mince pies that fills Santa up. We know Santa can't avoid eating mince pies, so here we just want to try and get as many squats done as possible before he gets too full. I want to show you how a simple effect in this game that adds a little bit more professionalism to it. Notice here at the end, the amount of squats or clicks are shown in the center, aligned with the background image. It doesn't have the variable name next to it, just a little orange box. So here's what I did. Okay, so let's see inside the project so I can show you a little bit around the code. I'm not going to go every day into every single piece of the code, but you will have these games available to you so you can remix them, have a look at all the bits of code, see if the bits you might like that you want to take for your own games. Absolutely go for it. That is what being a Scratcher is all about. Okay, so we're going to talk about this variable that I've added in here. Now, variables are things that change in your game, and they are crucial to creating fun games. Without a variable, people aren't going to really come back and play your game, because variables include scores, timers, lives, coins, points, whatever you want to use. In this case, we're using clicks. And you can see here we've got some different variables. We've got the number squats here. We also have here 2 total squats variables, and that's on purpose. If we go on the backdrop and have a look at the backdrops up in the top here, we can see I've got this background where you've got the game over, you've got Santa managed to do, and then a gap for where the variable is going to go. Now, in a later 12 Days of Christmas, I'm going to show you how to create your very own score not using the Scratch variables. It's a little bit more complicated. We'll do that further on in 12 games. Today, I'm just going to show you how to use that variable so it looks maybe a little bit more professional than just having it up in the corner. Okay, so what we need to look at is when this screen appears. And you can see here that I've got this code which says when I receive game over. When we receive game over, it's going to switch the backdrop to number 2, and it's going to hide the variable total squats and show a variable total squats. Now, if I zoom in, you can see the only difference there for me is a colon. And that's just to help me just so I know which one is which. So you can see here actually on the side that you can show and hide any variables that you create at any point in your code. And what that means is normally your variables, if I click on all of them, appear as they are across and around your game. And just by unticking them, you can make them disappear. So the easiest thing to do for a clicker game is to have every time you click on the character, which over here is on my Santa, when this sprite is clicked, you're going to change squats by 1. So that basically means it's going to add 1 to the squats score. Don't forget, whenever you use a variable that you need somewhere in your code, for there to be when green flag is clicked, it sets it back to 0 again. Otherwise, that squats will just keep going up and up and up. So you can see here that whenever I press the green flag, everything gets back to 0, except this one, which is a bit more complicated. That's to do with how fast the mince pies spawn. So I've got my when flag clicked, set everything to 0. I've also got this hide variable total squats with a colon, and that's important. Now in my game, we have a squats and a total squats, and they both add on by 1 every time that you click on Santa. The difference is mainly because I needed 2 different variables. I made it easy for myself. I could have used the same one, but I have some code over here which basically affects when the squats get more than 50, and then it sets it back to 0 again. We don't have to worry about that too much. But I've got, every time I click, I change the variable squats by 1. We can see it in action over here as I'm clicking. Every time I click, my squat number is going up. Now I have a total squats in the corner, and you can see that the squats and the total squats are both going up at the same amount. But when I get over 50, my squats goes back to 0 again, but my total squats stays going up. This is just a very simple variable. When this sprite clicked, change the squats by 1. Now, why do I have a different total squats? Well, the reason why I have 2 squats is purely to help me at the end of the game. You can't move a variable about. If I set my variable here in this corner, I can't move it over here. It will always stay in that position. The only thing that I can do is I can hide it and I can make it appear again. Now, I wanted my total squats to be up at the top, but I also wanted the number to be in the middle. So all I did was create another variable, and I used this little bit of code here, which basically says that forever, which basically means for as long as this game is being played, the total squats colon is actually going to be the same as total squats. So you can see here that you get the set. So I'm going to pull the set out, and I'm going to change that to total squats with a colon, and I'm going to make that equal to my actual total squats. Okay, so that's what I've done there for this bit of code. What that basically means is whatever this value is, it's the same as this one. I've got my total squats on the screen. You can see it's in the perfect position. So it might have been over here somewhere, and I've moved it down here. Let's put it on the backdrop that I want it on so I can see if it's exactly in the right place. So I can drag it into the middle there. And then when you click on it, if you notice, it came up here. If you right click on, you can have 3 different ways to show that variable. So I could choose the normal readout, which is what you are normally given in Scratch, which has the actual name of the variable. I can even use a slider. Now the slider is really interesting if you are using the variable as a way for the player to be able to change different values. And later on in 12 games, I'll show you an example of doing that. But the other one is the large readout, and that just has the number. So I can position it here, and in my code, I can choose that when the game is over, hide the total squats variable, which is the one at the top, and show the one in the middle. And then you get that nice magic effect of having the score exactly where you want it to go, so it looks like it's part of the end screen. Okay, finally, here's a recap on how to submit games on the 12 Games website. Links are below the video if you need to. There's a button to click. Right at the bottom, you'll see another link to the studio. So here is the 12 Games of Christmas Project Studio. And it's really simple to add a project. I've allowed anyone to add projects. I'm going to be on this daily over the next 12 days, so I'll be able to see what everyone is sharing just by adding it in here. And the only thing you need to do is you need to go to your shared project page. This only is available if you have signed into Scratch. Now, signing into Scratch is free, but you do need to be over 13 to make sure you got some permission if you can do that. But most schools have accounts for you, so or just ask a parent and it will be fine. Then down here, you have a button called Copy Link. When you click Copy Link, you get this link here, and then you want to copy it again. So I've got that link copied on my computer. I just then need to go to the studio, click on the link, and I'm going to click paste, Control and V. And you can see the numbers popped up. And then when I click add by URL, which is what this is called the URL. Then when I click add by URL, the game's going to come up. If you've got any questions that you want to add, you can add in something in the comments page, or you can click on any of the games. In particular, today's game, add your comment here. See if you can beat my top score of 240. Write your comments in there too. It's all about 12 Games community. I want lots of people chatting to people from all over the world. So let's get going. All right, guys, that's all for day one of 12 Games of Christmas. Remember, it doesn't have to be a Christmas-themed game. We're just doing it at Christmas time. So please share one of your favorite projects that you've done. It doesn't have to be new either. Just share it and we'll try and stick it on our 12 Games of Christmas. It's great to have you on board. Happy 12 Games of Christmas, and I'll see you all for day 2.